Hello friends, this is Deepak from Apiteria. In this example, we are going to learn how to use floating action buttons with animations to create more options in your Android application. So let's see how to do this. So here I am using Android Studio 2.3.1. I'll click on start a new project, Android Studio project. I will name it as FAB with animation. I'll keep API 15. Next, I'll select the basic activity class. I want the floating action button. Next, I'll name it as main activity. Finish. It will take some usual time to create your project. Okay, now that project is opening. Okay, now to create this animations on the floating action button, first of all we need to add animations in our project, and for that under res folder you need to create a directory with the name anim. So right click on your res folder, new directory, and name it as anim, everything in small case, right? So anim, just say okay, it will create the directory. Now right click on the anim folder and new animation resource file. Now I will name it as fab underscore open and say okay. So it will create one XML file in that anim folder. Now this is the animation file where I can write the animation. So when the floating action buttons will open, I want to scale, but that means change the size of the button. So I will add a animation effect called as scale. There I will add from XML X scale, that is position of X coordinate to 0 0. Then from Y scale, it is a from Y scale. So I'll put from Y scale equal to 0 0. That means from 0 0 position till some size. So I will put that size as 0.8. So 2x scale 0.8, 2y scale 0.8. Then we need to add an attribute called as pivot x and pivot y. So this pivot x and y is to hold the center position of your floating action button or the view. So we'll give it 50-50%. That means we want to hold the exact center of the floating action button. So pivot x 50%, pivot y 50%. Then the duration for this effect. So we are giving duration as 300. That means 0.3 seconds. Then to make this effect smooth, we need to set this interpolator, and here we'll use the linear interpolator. So for that you need to write Android:interpolator. Then if we are referencing the resource from android.r file, so we need to write @android:anim/linear interpolator. So that's it about the scale. Similarly, here we will change the alpha of that object. Alpha means we are setting the transparency of that image of the object. So we'll say alpha from alpha 0.0 to alpha 1.0. That means from invisible to some visible, full visible. That is to alpha 1.0. And again the duration same as the above. We'll put 300. And again here we'll add some for smoothness. We'll add the interpolator. Android:interpolator equal to again @Android:anim/, here we'll use accelerate interpolator. Right now our fab underscore open animation is ready. This is when the floating buttons will be opened. Now we want similar animation for the close, so we'll just copy that file and paste it in the anim folder, and this time we'll name it as fab_close. So when these buttons are getting closed, we just want to restore that from a scale 0.8 to 0.0. So I'll just replace that from X scale to from 0.0 to 0.8, and also we want to vary the alpha, so I'll change alpha from 1.0 to 0.0. Right now my animation for close is also ready. Now when we are rotating the animation, we want to rotate the button, so we'll use rotate forward, and we are creating one animation. This animation will be applied to the last floating button. When we'll open the floating buttons, we want to rotate that. So here we'll use the animation called as rotate. From degree will be 0, then we'll put 2 degree, that will be 45 degree. So from 0 to 45 we'll rotate, then again pivot X and Y, and here again we'll use that X and Y coordinates at 50-50%, so that it will be rotated to by holding the exact center of that floating action button. So this is to rotate the last animation button, floating action button, which has been clicked, and those animations open and close to open the floating action button above that floating action buttons. Now the duration is again 300, so we want 0.3 seconds, and then we are using another interpolator as Android anim / linear interpolator. Okay, I think I have written wrong here, so you need to change that. Here you'll get the help. So I'm selecting linear interpolator. Okay, now my rotate underscore forward is ready. Now I want to use rotate underscore backward, so I'll just copy that and paste it on my anim folder again, and I will rename it as rotate underscore backward. So I will change it as rotate underscore backward. Right, I'll say okay there, and I'll just change the degree from 45 to 0 as I want to restore the position of that floating action button. So just change this from 2 degree. Now my animation files are ready. Now we will open the activity to add the floating action button. So this is my activity underscore main. Okay, before that we need to add images. We will add images for all our action buttons. So I will add 3 buttons. First will be first will be to which will have icon as add. So I will create one icon IC underscore add to show this icon on that floating action button. Then I will add one more with the name IC underscore I think I will use an image of camera. So I'll just click on that icon. It will open a dialog to choose. Here I will type camera, and you can select any image for that second floating action button. So I'll say IC underscore, I'll just remove this, and I'll say IC underscore camera. Fine, next, and finish. Now here we are going to use 3 floating action buttons, so I will add one more image, vector asset. So I'll say new vector asset, and this time I will choose a icon of folder. So I will type folder there, and I will select, you can select any one icon, and I'll say okay, and I will name it as IC underscore folder. That's it. Now 3 icons are ready. Now these icons are in black color. If you want to change the icon, you need to open the XML file for that asset and just replace the color code here. That is fill color. So I'll just open and just replace that here, fill color. So here there are 2 colors. For camera they're having one circle and then frame of the camera. So you just need to change the color at 2 places. Similarly for the folder, just replace this. So I'm entering FF, that is for white color, and now my icons will be in white color. So now I'll close all these files, and here on this icon, floating action button will change the icon first. So this icon, floating action button, is using an icon from Android file. Now we'll change that to drawable / IC add, and here you need to change the property to Android : src. So we'll change that to Android : src. Source property will be @drawable / IC add. Now this floating action button is ready. I will simply add, copy and paste it 2 more. Like I want to add 2 more buttons, so I'll say floating action button 1, and floating action button 2. And of course I will change the uh, margin there, because by default now if I keep the same margin it will be overwritten, it will override the existing button. So what we are going to do, we are going to just change the margin. So if I'm using end, then it will give you error that you need to use right also, right and end for different versions of Android. Like for before 15 it will use a margin right and end for the other latest versions. And at the bottom I will keep bottom position as 19 dB. So 19 dB means it will be above the first floating button. Now again I will copy and paste it below, and this time okay, I will change the icon of the first icon, IC camera, and here I will say IC folder. Now two different icons, and here from the bottom it will be above 160 dB. That means the first will be 18 dB, second will be 90 dB, and then 160 dB. You can see all these three icons one above other. So these are the three icons. Fine. Now we need to set the visibility of the two icons to invisible. So I'll just change the visibility to invisible for both the floating action buttons. So there will be only one action button visible at a time, and when user will click on that, we'll set the visibility of other two when user will click on the first one. Right now in our main activity, first of all we need to create the object of all the floating action buttons. So I will create a floating action button fab1 comma fab2. So these are name of my objects. Then you need to create object of all the animations. So I will create a class object of a class called as animation, and I will name it as fab open comma fab close comma rotate forward comma rotate backward. So these are all my animations. Okay, now I will also declare one boolean variable which will store the value whether that floating action buttons are open or closed. So I'll name it as is open, and I'll set the default value as false. Then we'll initialize all these objects. So I'll simply copy this line and paste it below. Just remove the floating action button, because this is just objects of floating action button and floating action button 1, and we are declaring object at the top. I will copy that and again paste it and change it to floating action button 2. Fine. Now these are three my objects of floating action buttons. Similarly I will initialize the object of animations. So I will say fab open equal to animation utils dot load animation. There is a function called as load animation. First parameter is context, so I will pass this comma resource ID of the animation. So I will say r.anim.fab underscore open. So this will load the animation in that object. Now similarly I will copy this and create a animation object of animation called as fab close. So I will write fab close, and at the end I will say fab underscore close. Fine. Now for other two, that is rotate forward and rotate backward, I will create rotate forward equal to animation utils dot load animation. First parameter is context, and second r.anim dot rotate forward comma, and then again similarly for the backward. For the rotate underscore backward. That's it. Now all our objects are ready. Now to make that animation happen, we'll write one function. After this on create function, there will add one function called as we need to write private void then animate fab. We'll name it as animate fab because we want to make the animation on the floating action buttons. Now in this function, first we'll check if that fab is open, that is floating action button menu is open. So we'll say if is open, then we'll write the code to we'll start the animation to close it, right? So I will say fab, the first button at the bottom, we'll say fab dot start animation rotate forward. Then we'll say fab1 dot start animation to close, because it is already open, so we want to close it, so we'll say fab close. Then fab2 dot start animation, again here we use the same animation fab close. So we are applying the close animation to For it is, as it is already open, so we want to close it, so we are applying the fab close animation. Then we'll set fab1 dot set clickable, whether it is clickable or not, we'll set it false, so it is not clickable by the user. Then we'll again set for the second button, set clickable, false. And as it is true, we'll set the is open to false again, because now it is not open, it is closed, so we'll say fab closed. Now in the else part, we'll do the reverse thing, so we'll just write the else part, else part. Okay, then we will copy these lines and we'll just reverse the effects. So first it was rotate forward, so I will change it to rotate backward. Then fab close, I will change it to fab open, and clickable false to clickable true, so I'll change it to true here, and is open status will be true again. Fine, so this is done. Now our function is ready. Now we'll call this function on click of our fab. So when user will click on the floating action button, we will animate the other floating action buttons. Okay, now on click of our other floating action buttons, so on fab1 dot set on, you need to write the click listener. So I'm setting click listener, and from that click listener I will show the toast messages. So fab1 dot set on click listener, there is a toast message. I will type camera fab clicked, and just you can replace this with your actions. So you can replace this action with your own action. Fine, then I will just copy this and paste it below, and I will name it as fab2 dot set on click listener, and I'll just change the name to folder fab clicked and replace it with your action. Okay, now that is ready. Now I will just run this project. So okay, it is installing, Gradle installing APK. Now it will launch. Now you can see if I click on this, okay, it is happening so fast. Okay, now this is happening because in the animation file you need to mention you need to add one attribute that is called as fill after. So I will set this fill after to true in all the animation files. Now this is really important step to make that animation happen on the click of the floating action button. So you need to open all the animations file and you need to set fill after to true. Now what is this fill after? Now you can see by pressing Ctrl Q, it is saying that to apply this transformation when the animation is over, you need to set it to true. So that is why we are setting this fill after to true. Now that's it. I will run one more time. It is asking to restart. I'll say restart. Okay. Now if I click on this, you can see the animation. Now if I click on any particular fab, it will show the toast messages. But now we want to close the animation or close these buttons when user will click on any, either like camera or folder. So for that you just need to copy that anim fab, or you need to call that animate fab function on all the floating action buttons. So whenever user will click on any button, we'll just close, or we'll just do that animation of closing again when user will click on any floating action button. So I'm just running it again. Now you can see, click, it is closing, click, it is closing, right? Close it. So now I'll just change, we'll just see how we can change the positions. So for that, what we are doing, we are keeping the right margin same, and we are just changing the bottom margin. Now I will change the right margin to 90 dp, and I will keep the bottom margin as @diamond / fab margin. That @diamond is 16 dp. So we'll use the default margin, and we'll just, you can see the positions now. It is one at the left hand side and one at the top. So what we are doing, we are changing the right margin and we are keeping the bottom margin. I'll just run it again. So by changing these margins, you can change the position of those floating action button. You can use it at any side. You can see if I click here, now it is opening like this. Right. So just by changing the right margin and changing the bottom margin, I have changed the position here again. Right. So after clicking here, it is closing. So thank you for watching, guys. Hope this video will help you. Subscribe our channel for more videos like this, and don't forget to click on the bell sign to get notification of all the videos which we are uploading.